Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we're going to do another light novel review. Before that though, thank you guys so much. It's really appreciated that you guys helped me reach 20 subscribers in this month of April, which was super awesome because we got 21 subscribers and there was still 10 days left before the end of the month. Right now it's the 24th, and as of like the 20th, we had 21 subscribers, so that was great. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, here's to many more. So yeah, let's get started. So, wait, here we go. There, Werewolf, Annals of Veight, Volume 2. This one's titled The Hero's Menace. This one is made by Hugetsu. It's illustrated by Nishi Ida. It's published by J Novel Club. The genres are isekai and fantasy. And it currently has no anime adaptation. And yeah, so before I start, I look at 5 things when I review light novels. I look at plot, characterization, world building, the art, and fan service. The first 3 are what I base my rating on. The last 2 are purely for the enjoyment of it all. The art is purely subjective, so I just give my opinion. And the fan service is a warning in case anyone doesn't like it or is wary of that type of stuff in their books. So here the premise is essentially a continuation of the story. Veight is now recognized as this super powerful demon lord kind of person. He's a super strong demon. Everyone thinks he's the champion of the werewolves, which means he's the strongest werewolf. And as such, he's rather important to the demon lord. And they start to develop this counter to the demon lord that are known as heroes, and a bunch of them start popping up. And Veight thinks it's odd because if there's only one demon strong enough to be the demon lord, there should only be one human strong enough to be the hero. And so he goes and investigates. Shenanigans happen and stuff. And yeah, this is overall a really strong volume. And I've already read Volume 3 by the end of this, so I know that Volume 3 is really good as well. So this is a series full of strong books. I recommend that you guys check it out. So the plot here is really good. It's really enjoyable. The hero storyline, the whole aspect of Veight going to figure out where these heroes are coming from and stuff was rather interesting. Although I think at the end, all the battles that he had with these heroes were kind of anticlimactic, or rather he just beat them too easily. But I think that's because the focus of this text, of this book, is not exactly on the battles between people and demons, like individual conflict, but rather the machinations of nation building, okay? Because they spend a huge amount of time developing the human tension between, or the emotional tension between Veight and other people when he's interacting with them in these political situations. But when it comes to battle, Veight just kind of finishes it off really fast. So yeah, I like the politics in it. I think it's really interesting. And I like that the way that the plot points affected the demons as a whole. Like this one part where one of the demon regiments has huge losses, and so all of these demons, by virtue of their culture, essentially, are now demoralized immensely and have to find ways to get back into the fight. So yeah, I don't want to go as deep into the plotline as I usually do, because since it's a second volume, I don't think it's a good idea to spoil that much. So yeah, but yeah, it was a really strong plot line. Well, okay, it wasn't amazingly strong, but it was definitely enjoyable. I never felt like I was bored, and although there was ups and downs in the pacing, it was a good enough distribution of it that you're never bored. Because there's a lot of books that have a really high amount of tension, and then it just like dies completely until the end again. And that sort of drop in tension is when people get bored. So yeah, the characters here are basically the same as what I said in my first review. They're all good. I really like the huge amount of the people that there are in this cast. I really enjoy the way that some of these characters develop, like Baltz, the leader of the Azure Dragonkin, or like of the military branch. Really gets humanized in this book. He, he has a love interest introduced, and you see him being like extremely loyal to the Demon Lord, but realizing that he's really not what the Demon Lord needs, and that's why the Demon Lord depends on Veight so much, and he wants to learn how to be better and more like Veight so that he can be of better use to his lord. So yeah, and yeah, like I said, he gets humanized a lot, and I like the reaction people have to Veight, like not demons, because usually the demons are like, oh, he's strong, he's friends with the Demon Lord, let's be nice to him. But the humans are all terrified of him for some reason. Well, the ones that don't know him, and it's because rumors have spread, and basically they make out Veight to be this like horrific demonic werewolf, which I mean, I guess he is, but the way he's described as like this like legendary monster, and he's just like a dude that just walks around. He's like, hey, I'm just doing my job. It's really funny, and it's like interesting, and it's odd, but I mean, it's a totally believable reaction. And yeah, I like the characters that are introduced here. Let's see, there's our Aram, which is the viceroy to this other city, who at first tries to be rather cunning and like conniving, but then Veight just like talks to him normally, and he realizes that everyone just assumes that he's threatening them all the time, and so he tries to tone it down, but Aram is like completely demoralized, and he decides to do things on his own, like his own way, instead of trying to copy his family members. So Veight unintentionally helps out this guy, which is cool, and I like the character growth that Aram has. But he was just such a like not interesting character, I think. I don't know, I didn't love him. The other character that was introduced is Lacey, the Holy Priestess, who is hilariously like naive and like childish, but also like wholesome in a weird way. And she becomes a movie's new apprentice because she's an illusionist, and although she's like rather kiddish and childish, she gets along really well with Moby, and so Veight is like, well, I'll take care of her. Yeah, and then who else? There's I think that's basically the only important characters. I mean, there's the hero, and then the other hero, and then that's it. But well, those battles end, and that's basically all there is to them. And yeah, so I really enjoyed the characterization. I thought it was great. Even if I didn't love the characters, some of the characters, I really liked how they did everything anyways. So yeah. And then world building, I think is wonderful in this text. I love the juxtaposition between human politics and demon politics. Like, human politics are rather oddly conniving and cunning and like backwards in like very many, ways that you would think are bad and that demons would use. But demons are super straightforward in their politics. The strong rule, and there's the best, which basically means it's a meritocracy, right? So that's much more straightforward, blunt, and actually more useful than the way that humans do it. But it also means that demons are rather easily toppled. You get rid of the ones on top and everyone else kind of crumbles, because you essentially only have really important, meaningful people at the top. People that are useful at the top, in the way that the meritocracy works in this text. So I really enjoyed the way that, it was played out. That's basically all there is to say about the world building here. Although, there's a bit more divulging of the magic. Well, there's a lot more of it at the end, specifically about necromancy, but that would be a lot of spoilers, and I don't want to, talk about those. So we'll leave it at that. There's definitely world building that happens. It's just a lot of it is really tied to the plot, and so I don't want to spoil it. And yeah, that's basically it. The art here is, again, rather good, very good. I really like the color illustrations especially. Here's the cover page, and here's a bigger version of that. I think it's so good. I really like the way the Demon Lord here, he looks draconic, like a dragon, but he also looks kind of like the those weird depictions of Lucifer where he's kind of like a satyr, like a, you know, a goat guy because of the horns and stuff. It's really interesting. There's Veight. Here's another one. That's a movie, and that's the giant guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah. There's another one of Veight. That's Fafnir. I said Fafnir in the previous book, and that's not, I meant Fafnir. And then that's Boltz, and that's Kurtz, I think. Because there's a certain amount of world building around the way that the Demon Lord set up the Dragonkin. And there's Melaine. I said Melanie in the first text, or in the first video, which I think is technically a way that you could read her name, but it's spelled Melaine, so it's Melaine, I think. So yeah, there we go. That's her. And then you finally get character cards, which are great because I was really missing them in the first text. And I really wanted to use them to refer back to the characters when I was confused, but I couldn't because they didn't have any. So I'm really glad that they added them here. Another map, there you go. And then let me show you, they have the story so far, which is great. Here, let me show you all the illustrations really quick. So here's the first one. Again, it's rather sketchy, but I think that it works for the book. Here's another one. This one, for some reason, reminds me of that The Way of the House Husband book. It's like the guy that's a Yakuza member that is a house husband. I don't know, he just reminds me of that. This is the merchant guy. He's really like sleazy, but like really useful at the same time. It's fun. Here we go. He's fighting some heroes here. You see, the one thing that they haven't really explained yet is how the werewolf transformation works. Like, do their clothes get absorbed into them, or do they rip their clothes every time? Because most of the time, it's never mentioned at all. Here's Lacey and Movi having a conversation about how being alone is better than talking to anyone. And Veight's just like, what the heck? Here's another one. That's Aram, or Aram, and Arya. Here's another one. This is near the end. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Here's another one near the end, but I don't want to tell you what happens. Oh, and here's the last one. This is the last picture in the book, I think, and it's about near the end of the story. So yeah, no more context for that one because I don't want to spoil anything. Here's a good question. Anyone watching, please let me know if I need to change anything with how I approach the showcase of the art. And if you guys mind if I explain, or if I should just scroll through the pieces. And yeah. So yeah, the art's really good, really enjoyable. I really like it. The fan service in this book is basically non-existent. I can't remember anything that's even slightly, you know, not safe for work. And I can't really remember anything that's even like slightly sexual at all. So there we go. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like fan service in their books, this one's A-okay. And yeah, so my rating of this book is a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10. I think that if I read more light novels, it might drop the score of this, but I really, really enjoy these books. So I can't really justify giving them a lower grade just because I'm not really the most versed in the type of book. Is there anything weird? Okay, so I need to note that the layout complaint that I had in the last video is still holds true. I don't like the way that it's divided up, but it's mostly a personal gripe, and I'm sure that if they print it physically, they will have to adjust it a slightly more. And yeah, I recommend it. I think that everyone should read it. Of course, start with the first one. And yeah, and similar titles to this one. I completely missed it last time, but this book is probably the nearest thing that I can think of. It's a Western YA novel, I think. Yeah, and it's about these noble people that are all some sort of Therian trope, like they can change animals. Like you see there's one that's a hawk and one that's a lion. This is kind of from the other side though. These are the human nobles as opposed to the evil demons. It's, if you guys have ever read Aragon, it kind of reads like that, or maybe, you know, more old school fantasy. But this one is rather maybe similar to the Annals of Veight. I mean, it has a werewolf protagonist. It focuses on world building, nation building, and you know, the development of government. Other than that, I would say the same thing I said last time, which I think was Game of Thrones, Stormlight Archive, and Codex Alera, which are, I still think they're pretty good ones. Somewhat similar, although it's just not easy to compare or to find stuff that's similar, because I have to refer to a whole different type of writing. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys later.